Thank you again. Come on, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. First thing I will do is I will request all of you to fill up the front rows. Please, just move on. Come. The 3 seats vacant here. There's 1 seat vacant here. There's 1 seat vacant here. Come on. Come, please. Fill up the front rows. Please. Okay, good afternoon. In the next 2 hours or so, what I'm going to tell you is a little different from what we've covered so far, and very different from what the technical aspects that are going to be part of this training mainly. I'm going to be talking about training skills, and I'm going to be talking about training requirements of adults, right? So what I want you to do in my sessions is keep your minds open, relate to your experience, because what I'm going to talk is not really very technical, right? What I'm going to tell you are probably things that when I tell you that, you will realize, yeah, I knew this. But the context in which I'm going to put it, maybe it will lead to certain learnings that you have, which you can directly apply. Okay. So before I start, let me just go over what is going to be the objectives of my session. We've seen the overall objectives of the 3 days, but since my content is slightly different from the rest, this is what the objectives or the outcomes of the 3 sessions that I am going to do are going to be. So let me just go over them. By the end of those 3 sessions of mine, you will be able to describe the characteristics of adult learners and its implications on training. You will be able to describe how to create a comfortable learning environment. What it means, we'll come to it when I cover it. You will be able to identify the 4 questions that need to be answered in any session to be able to accommodate different learning styles. It doesn't matter what the topic is, it doesn't matter whether it is technical, non-technical, soft skills, hard skills. Those 4 questions remain constant. You will be able to distinguish between teaching, presentation and facilitation. You will be able to describe what are facilitation skills, and you will get an opportunity to practice these. When you do your own presentations, we expect you to practice these skills and get feedback on that. Right? So these are as far as the outcomes or objectives of the 3 sessions that I'm going to take. This is the first session. Here, in continuation with preparing for training, I'm going to tell you certain mindsets or certain things that you have to keep in your mind when you go in for training. What kind of a mindset do you need to go in for? What are the things that you need to be aware of? And what are some of the factors that you need to consider when you're designing your training or when you're planning your delivery? That I'm going to cover today. Tomorrow, I'm going to cover how to conduct training and how to answer those 4 questions. That I'm going to cover tomorrow. And day after tomorrow, I'm going to cover the facilitation skills. What is the difference between a trainer and a teacher? And how do you facilitate? What is the meaning of facilitation? We'll talk about that. Okay. So these are the outcomes, and this is how I intend covering it. Any questions you have about this? Anything that you feel needs to be added to this? Okay. So we will stop here. And I want to do a small activity. And for that, I want one volunteer. Any one volunteer? Yes, please come. Okay, so this is the activity is a role play, right? And I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Mr. Ganesh is the teacher, and you all are students. So let's say you are 9th grade students, class 9 students, right? And he's a teacher. So he's going to go out and then he's going to come in, and for 5 minutes he's going to take a class. What subject would you like to take, Mr. Ganesh?
As you like.
No, you're the teacher.
Energy.
Energy. No, it's just class 9. Okay, energy in physics.
Yes, energy.
Okay. So he's a physics teacher. He's going to talk about energy, right? And this is a very energetic class, right? So you please go back to your class 9 days, how mischievous and how naughty you used to be, and what you used to do to your teacher, right? So I'm giving you an opportunity to relive your youth. Please do that. You can just go out. And you are a very strict teacher, right? You will not allow any nonsense, will you? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry? Backbencher? Yeah. But provided you come back after that. Okay. So the idea is that you have to be as naughty as you, right? Please come. You have to hold this.
Don't you stand up? No. Stand up first. Okay, sit. Don't you have the habit of saying good afternoon? Yeah, good afternoon. So I'm going in the right face. Okay, so today we are going to see about the topic energy. So what is energy? Yeah, please.
Capacity to do work.
Yes, what work?
It is the capacity to do work, that is the definition of energy.
Okay.
It is neither can be created nor can be destroyed.
Yes,
One
energy.
form can be changed.
It can be transformed from one form to another form. Okay.
No, the way you shouted at us for standing up, you needed that energy. That is what is energy.
Yeah, nice explanation. So, any other explanation for energy? Why energy is needed? What is the importance? What is the necessity? Or how it can be sustained? One question for one. Or I will ask you. Last benches. Young boy, please. No. Let him. So, please tell your opinion. Oh, good. Please make me. So, there is a sequence of question. I will come again. Next time, if you ask this, I will send you out. So, what is energy? What is the importance, necessity of energy? How we can sustain the energy? Yes.
Most important issue,
Hmm.
anything is the energy, whether in the domestic sector, industries, environmental sector. So energy is the key role.
Yes. How we can sustain? Energy neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another form. So every day we are transforming energy in one form to another form. Ultimately, we are using energy in a form of electricity. I mean, the most like as an electrical point of view, in mechanical point of view, in form of kinetic, or in thermal in form of heat. So let us stick with the point of electricity. We are converting different forms into electricity, and it is utilized.
Please give him a big hand.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we saw an example of a teacher taking a class, right? Now I want you to think that when you as trainers, when you go and conduct a training program like what I am conducting now, would it be in the same manner in which like this teacher came and spoke to class 9 students? No. All of you agree no? 100%? Why? They should feel comfortable. So, absolutely. So, does that mean that children should not feel comfortable? They should? Okay.
See, the thing is, any any student in a good luncher also can, in a 45-minute class, the maximum time that a student can concentrate is only 15 minutes. And that how do you actually utilize that 15 minutes to convey whatever you have to convey in that particular session to the audience is what you are expected to do as a trainer. And to create that, it takes time to build up that tempo and then deliver the whole.
Right, absolutely. Okay, what else? How else is it different? What I'm coming at is that how you present or deliver content to children and how you do it to adults. What is the difference? Yes, please.
The knowledge level itself, basically.
Right.
Because the knowledge level of the teacher is always higher than
Right.
the teacher,
Right.
student.
Right.
So delivering is always one way side, basically.
Right.
The idea is that to inculcate the knowledge in them, basically.
Right.
Here, the most important aspect is learning that we consider the equal partner, basically.
Right.
And this learning is through more and more interaction and sharing of knowledge.
Absolutely. Excellent. So, whereas in a classroom environment, it is a one-way learning. Here, it is how many ways? 3 ways. It is 3-way learning. I am learning from you, you are learning from me, and you are learning from each other. Right? So, it is a 3-way learning. Very good. Yes.
I will just add on to this that as a child, it's like the beginner's mind, or it's at a very basic level. But as an adult, it's a matured mind. So
Right.
you are actually inculcating something in a matured mind.
Right.
So you need to be even more precise with the thoughts. But at the basic level, it's like you are just developing their minds and their learning stage.
Right.
So it's.
So maybe you have to be
you give more practical experiences than the theoretical.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. More practical oriented. Also, at times you may have to get them to unlearn first and then learn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Body language kind of like
Body language?
yeah, dominating way when you are
You can't do that.
yeah, you can't
As with adults, right? Absolutely.
Because, like you said, it's for a child it's very easy to learn because they haven't learned anything. But for an adult, it's you have to make them unlearn first and then learn again, which is the whole entire process of being differentiating between a trainer and a teacher.
Right, absolutely. So, absolutely. That is the summary or the crux of what we are trying to say is that you are not a teacher. You are a facilitator. Right? Okay. Now, what happens? Most of the time, who are trainers? Who becomes trainers? Subject matter experts, domain experts. Everyone agrees? So you are very good in your subject, you are very good in your domain, you become a trainer, right? But more often than not, they don't go into that aspect of training methodology itself. So while they are very good in that subject, but how to convey that knowledge to their audiences, that is where that gap comes in. And that gap is what I am trying to fill in here, right? And that biggest gap that comes in is because since we don't have formal knowledge or formal exposure to training methods, we fall back on our own experience of when we have learnt. And when have we learnt? In schools, in colleges. So we tend to deliver training in the way in which we have learnt in schools and colleges, right? So that is a big gap that comes in as far as training is concerned. So what happens is, what is the science of teaching children? What is it called, ma'am? I'm sure you know. What is the science of teaching children? What is it called? Pedagogy. Okay, it's called pedagogy. And what is andragogy? Adult learners. Right, the science of adult learning is called andragogy. But what happens is most of us apply pedagogy as far as training workshops are also concerned. And that is where the trainings are not as effective as we would like it to be. Right. So let's take a look at what is the difference between pedagogy and andragogy. Just read the slide in a minute, then I'll explain. Okay, let's take it point by point. When we say degree of dependence in pedagogy or in child learning, the participant or the child is dependent, whereas in andragogy, the participant or the learner is autonomous, self-directed. What do you understand by this? Can anyone elaborate this?
Unless otherwise you explain that children can understand.
Right.
Here, if you just throw a little hint, they will catch it.
Right. So one is the degree of explanation required. What else?